Gibraltar's place within this industry is very important. We are the biggest bunker supplier as a port within the Mediterranean, third biggest in Europe and seventh in the world in terms of bunker volume. And part of that is down to the management structures that we have in place, the enforcement regimes that we have, the quality management, and obviously the partnership that we have with our operators, with the physical suppliers in Gibraltar. That's something which we are very keen to carry on developing. We've seen that post-COVID, the activities of the port, whilst they have remained resilient, are rebounding, especially on the bunkering side. And we're now seeing other activities start to increase as well.
Unfortunately, bunkering is also a major pollutant. How do you see the industry developing in this regard? Will we be seeing more of a move to cleaner fuels?
The move towards cleaner fuel has been already taking place for some time. As recently as 2020, we had new fuel regulations being introduced, which limit the emission of sulfur dioxides from vessels burning fuel. This is something which the IMO, in line with the rest of the world, is moving forward and taking forward. It's something which Gibraltar has already taken the first steps towards doing. We have LNG bunkering is already a reality in Gibraltar, and that's part of the step towards changing the fuel that vessels are operating. But we also have to be conscious that shipping there's lead time for the implementation of new fuels and uptake on this. So typically a vessel is constructed for a lifespan of around 25 years. So if we think about the 25-year time frame, whilst we have retrofits of existing vessels moving to new fuels, they're not that common because of the economic dissuasion in terms of operating expenses, capital expenditure. There's also the fact that availability of the new cleaner fuels has been somewhat lacking in some ports. Gibraltar is at the forefront of making these cleaner fuels available, and that's part of our strategy to carry on being at the forefront of the bunker industry going forward.
And what level of interest has there been in LNG bunkering in Gibraltar?
It's been good. Again, it goes to the characterization of the port. Gibraltar port is somewhat of a unique port in that we're not a loading port or a discharge port. So we're a port which services vessels which are transiting close to us. And that sector is what's called in the industry the tramp trade. Tramp trade is typically the sector that moves last towards uptake of new fuels. But we've already had a number of operations under our belt, and we have interest going forward. And more importantly, we have additional interest in more suppliers setting up and offering this service.
Another major area of port activity is, of course, the cruise industry, which was stalled by the COVID pandemic. How do you see the situation now, and what will the port be doing to attract more cruise calls to Gibraltar?
Well, the cruise liner activity was stalled worldwide because of COVID. What we have seen is that we gained a very good reputation beyond our normal offering for cruise liners in supporting the cruise liner industry during COVID times. We were hosting a lot of technical calls for cruise liners, facilitating crew disembarkations, crew changes, and this is something for which we have a lot of credit right now. This is one of the central premises under which the Minister for the Port is pushing forward to make sure that we emphasize our position and our readiness to take cruise liners. We're already seeing some good indicators. We've had a number of cruise calls recently. Iona comes to mind as an inaugural call, a very big vessel, LNG powered. So it ticks a lot of boxes, and as the situation starts to normalize, we're expecting that we'll have additional activity.